Okay, you guys, so we've imported our assets. We've also created a composition, saved our project. It's now time to create a composition. To do that, we can go up to Composition and choose New Composition. Keyboard shortcut Control N. We're going to be confronted with the Composition Settings dialog box. This can be a little bit intimidating if you're a new person to After Effects. And if you've just joined us, don't worry, you guys. I'm recording this. A lot of times it's just good to sit back and relax and watch what's happening, and then you can actually listen to the tutorial to fill in the blanks. But with the composition settings box open, we want to name this comp. We'll call this slide 1. And then we're always concerned about the size of our document. I've selected the correct size that we probably should be using, HDV 1080 2997. Take a look at what happens. It shifts to our video size, 1440 by 1080. It also shifts to the correct aspect ratio. This is real important. The frame rate 2997, resolution is at full. I'm concerned about the duration. You guys want to say, okay, how long do I want this project to be? Ideally, we talked about 10-second animations, so we'll set this to 10 seconds. I'll select in here, I'll type in 10 period, and press the tab key. When you press 10 period and the tab key, that tells After Effects that you want to type in 10 seconds. If you type in 5 period, 5 seconds, 10 period period, 10 minutes, and simply 10 would be 10 frames. So I'll type in 10 period tab. I'm hitting the tab key because if I press OK, the box closes and I'm out of this window. But if I press the tab key, I can populate to the next value without closing this window. Perfect. 10 for my duration, 10 seconds. Remember, this is hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. And we know that there's roughly 29 frames per second. Okay, perfect. The background color will keep at black. I'll click OK, and then a couple of things happen. I now have this window right here. I'm actually using my middle scroll mouse to zoom in and out of the zoom percentage. A lot of times, you guys, you can click this pop-up value and choose fit so that it fits into whatever percentage you need it. Right now mine happens to be 25%. Yours is probably totally different. Perfect. At the bottom you can also see that we now have this comp open. It says slide 1 and it has an empty area waiting for our assets. Okay. So let's go ahead and add one of the pictures. I'll open up my pictures folder and I'm going to select the first image, and to add it to my comp I'm going to click, drag, and drop it down to this area down here. And take a look at that. A couple of things happen. The image appears in our composition window. The image also appears right here with the source name, with a lot of buttons and knickknacks and a little face right here. Who is this guy? And we also see that there's a graph area right here that represents 10 seconds. And if I use my little CTI, I can scrub and we can see the value updates right here. You can also scrub this value right here. I'm going to scrub that back to hour 0, beginning of our animation, and I'll Control S to save. It looks like the image is too big, and if we zoom out, I'm using my middle scroll mouse. You guys can use the the comma and the period to zoom in and out, comma, period. But if we take a look at our actual size of the image, we can see it's bigger than our composition. And what we want to do is fit this to the comp size. It's pretty simple to do. You guys, with that image selected, I can go up to Layer, transform, and choose fit to comp. Take a look at what happens. We can see that now that image shifts and it fits perfectly to our composition. You guys are going to need that to make the images fit into your comp. Hopefully you have this in your brain somewhere. So we've created the new document, imported assets, added our first image, and fit to comp. The next thing we can do, you guys, is bring in our logo. I'm going to close down the pictures folder, and I'm going to select the logo 1_1920. If I select the image, you can see that it gives me this thumbnail preset view right here of the size. And this is important. The aspect ratio is now square. 1.0 happens to be square. But that's okay, you guys. We'll add this, and to do this, we'll just simply drag and drop it. Make sure the image, if it's at the bottom or below, then you're not going to be able to see it. So you want to drag until you see that black line above, and then release your mouse, and then there's the image. Right now it's huge. It's full size. We need to scale it down. To bring up the scale attributes for a selected layer, make sure that layer is selected and press the letter S for scale. And take a look at that. We now have access to the scale values. You can see that they're locked so that you can keep these constrained while you scale them down. And to scale them down, I'll simply put my mouse over the 100 value, click and drag. When I release my mouse, you can see that updates. I'm going to scale it down to something that's comfortable, maybe 25%. And then I'm going to take this logo and move it up to the upper corner. Actually, I think I'll place it down here to the lower right. And I'll make my title come in right here. So, Control S to save. And I'll deselect by clicking off of that object. You can see that, hey, the scale value didn't close. It's still here. So what you can do is select that layer and press S to close down that value. Okay, now it's time to add some text. But before we work with text, we should be conscious of our title safe area. Right now I'm not quite sure where the title safe is. So there's a little box right here that if you click, you can access title and action safe. So I'll turn that on, and you can see that there's a couple of boxes and some issues going on right here. What's happening? Well, technically we want to be concerned about this outer portion of the screen. Make sure our text fits inside of this outer portion. So I'll select that logo, and I'll just kind of click and drag it so that it's positioned. I'm actually going to stay inside of this inner box. The inner box actually represents the older size TV screens. So a lot of times you'll see things cropped on older TV screens. If you watch ESPN or a TV show, a lot of times you'll see that things are cropped. There's black boxes on the outside of this frame. So that's what this is indicating, that hey, if you want to make sure that things stay, then you want to put them inside of this crop area, so that when TV screens do crop things off, your stuff will be safe. And I'm sure you guys have seen it. If you have an HD TV, you probably have the crop, or some of the TV stuff is cropped off. Okay, perfect. I'm going to Control S to save. And now what we can do is add some text to this. So what we'll do is we'll stop the tutorial, make sure that everyone's up to speed with us, and we'll go ahead and add some text to this.